Hello, welcome to an episode of Macarious Meanderings, and tonight I'm going to answer the question, why read saints' lives? So, in the Orthodox Church, we have a pantheon of saints. I mean, huge, innumerable, uncountable, because there are that many. And a lot of them have had their lives chronicled. Their lives were chronicled by other people, people who knew them, and all the notes and all of the first-person encounters were all put together, and there you go, you have a saint's life. Now, this question, why read saints' lives? This actually goes to Orthodox as well as non-Orthodox. So non-Orthodox Christian people are, obviously they don't really have a context for saints' lives. They're not part of the Orthodox Church, so they might wonder, what's the whole point of that? Maybe they heard about it somewhere. But even Orthodox people ask this question because as much as people come into the Orthodox Church, not all of them necessarily, not everybody engages in all the Orthodox things that there are to do. And one of the most central parts of the Orthodox lifestyle is reading the lives of Orthodox saints. And, some of them might be a little, scared to ask because it just seems like, apparently some people are doing it, so it must be an obvious question. I'm scared to ask an obvious question. I'm always asking the obvious questions because I don't want to presume anything, because if you presume too much, you're just going to believe in non-truths. So, yeah, I ask all the dumb questions because I don't necessarily trust the answers that people give. Anyway, or necessarily trust the beliefs, the presumptions that people have, I should say. And so others, other Orthodox people might just simply not be that interested or just can't see a reason why. Okay, so why read the lives of the saints? Being an Orthodox Christian means that you lead a gospel lifestyle, that you forgive your enemies, and that you follow the Ten Commandments. And the two great commandments are loving God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and your neighbor as yourself. All that, right? But the thing is, you have that in text. You have that in the Bible. It is there for you to read every day. But people are so much more open to following. They are so much more, oh, I get it now, if they are shown what it means to lead a gospel lifestyle. So, Orthodox saints, part of being an Orthodox saint means that you lead the gospel lifestyle. You follow those commandments to the hilt. You do a lot of work in this life. You suffer, you counsel. There is a lot that happens in saints' lives. And so the thing is, reading the life of a saint is going to give you a really good example, if it's well chronicled, a really good example of what it looks like to lead the life of lead an Orthodox Christian lifestyle. These people don't go in there to become saints. These people don't go into the Orthodox lifestyle to become saints. They go into the Orthodox lifestyle because it is true, because it is right, because it is following Jesus Christ. They don't go there meaning to be saints. I think I would actually guess that that's just kind of like to them a bit of a byproduct, because that's not what they're trying to do. Any man who goes into the Orthodox Church thinking to himself, I'm going to become a saint, run away from that person. Run away from that person. No saint knows that he's a saint. No saint likes to hear about people thinking he's a saint. That's not, no. To be a saint is to be humble. And the Orthodox saints are incredible examples of humility. And so, reading the Orthodox saints' lives, they will give you just a really good example of what it means to be an Orthodox Christian. And another part about reading the saints' lives is that you can actually learn some history from them. Orthodox saints have been non-stop. Screw the Enlightenment. What Enlightenment period? Who cares about the Enlightenment period? They're Orthodox saints. Whatever Enlightenment. Maybe you had intellectual darkness. Orthodoxy didn't. So you will learn about history. I have a couple of saints right here that I've been reading. Let's see, this is the most, sort of a most recent one here, is Elder Nectaria of Optina. I actually have a book review video of him, and you watch him go through the beginnings of communism. He reposed a few years after the Soviets really got on a roll in the 1920s. But That's when they came for the monasteries and scattered the Christians and murdered everybody who was a Christian just 'cause. So you see the devastation, the spiritual devastation of Russia in his life because he experienced that. And you learn about Russian society, you learn about Russian people, you learn about a whole nother country, and you learn about history firsthand. Forget about all the history textbooks. Nobody cares about history textbooks, especially in high school, because they are retarded. They suck. Okay? History textbook, right here. You see firsthand, through first-person accounts, what it was like to live under the Soviet rule, under the Soviet authority. Now, this is not the Gulag Archipelago, but it's like this is another story that actually happened, within the Soviet Russia era. So, you learn history through reading the saints' lives, and you pick up on a lot of interesting things. And there's a lot of spiritual advice in this book. There's a lot of spiritual advice on how to lead an Orthodox lifestyle that's asked by people. Your question is probably answered in one of these books, and it's beautiful because, leading the Orthodox lifestyle in this modern day and age is really hard. Okay, it's difficult. We have modern tech at the touch of our finger. We can go watch YouTube for 10 hours and become totally sedated. Video games, same thing. Television, same thing. We can just totally sedate ourselves. It's very easy to lose ourselves in. Me too. Me too. It's easy, but when you read a saint's life, it's an experience. It's hard to explain, but it is an experience to see such a beautiful life played out right before your eyes. You see tragedy, you see heartbreak, you see wonder, you see beauty. There's so much there. I'm just awed by the beauty of God's grace and mercy and all the wonderful things that happen in people's lives. How he helps them through suffering and everything. It's amazing. It's absolutely enthralling because at the end, I've never really appreciated beauty all too much just because it just wasn't exactly me at the time. But then reading the saints' lives just introduced me to the idea of beauty and wonder in God's light in a way I never even thought of. Okay, it's just never penetrated my skull. And then I read a saint's life. It's just like, oh, this is why everybody worships God. This is why they read the Bible. This is why you see so much. You're exposed to so much, and it's so wonderful. That's why that's why you read saints' lives, man. Those are some good reasons why. Anything else I can think of? Well, that's about all I can think of at the time. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you got something out of it. And maybe now you might go read a saint's life. I would actually, at the end here, I should recommend a couple. My favorites so far, out of the few that I've read, would be the Optina Elders series. Those are very well chronicled, very well documented saints' lives. I will say, however, that Nectari and Sebastian, these two right here, these two are not very well chronicled because of the fact that when the Soviets came to power, well, we lost a lot of records because the Soviets came to the monastery, wrecked the monastery, turned it into a like living quarters, library. They just take one building and do one thing with it, took another building, did something else with it. So, we lost quite a lot. But the Optina Elders before Sebastian and Nectari, full to the brim, is really good. Some of them are actually short just because I think that's just the way it was. I don't know about anything historically lost otherwise. I'm not sure. But, my favorite, if I was somebody who wanted to check this out for the first time, I would look into Elder Ambrose or Elder Barsanufius. Those are, I read Elder Barsanufius. Fascinating, beautiful, wonderful. Oh my goodness. And he has poetry. They have some poetry of his that is scattered throughout the book. Beautiful stuff, wonderful, love it. Forget Robert Frost. Nobody cares about Frost. Robert Frost? Is it Robert Frost? Yeah, it's Robert Frost. Yeah, forget about Robert Frost. Nobody cares about him. Elder Barsanufius, all the way. Elder Ambrose didn't write poetry, but and I haven't read his life yet. But I did read a small account of somebody who visited him and received miraculous healing from him, and I was just like, I'm reading him next. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Reading these books, you get spiritual consolation, spiritual advice. You feel the consolation too when you read the books. When you read a saint's life, you feel that spiritual consolation too. It's amazing. It'll affect you like no other book will, and it's just incredible. Any other saint's life I could recommend? I would. You know what? I think I'm just gonna leave my recommendation at the Obstinate Elders. I think that's a good place. So let's just leave it at that. And in the meantime, you have a good day. God bless, and I hope you enjoy a saint's life.